Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to tell you another story about my childhood. And for those of you who have been following me for a while, you probably already know that I was raised by my father, and he was from the silent generation. And anybody with a dad from the silent generation knows that they were a different breed, all right? So, and this story illustrates that very clearly. The story begins, I was probably about 13 or 14, and there was a neighbor kid about 18 or so, and he had this international vehicle. I think is it international, a Jeep? I don't know, but it was an international, kind of the one of the first, if not the first, kind of SUV thing. And anyway, he was going to the store, and I think he stopped by and asked me and my brother if we wanted to go. So my dad let us go. So we ride to the store with this kid. On the way back, he takes this gravel road and was like speeding down this gravel road, having fun like an 18-year-old is going to do. Well, on one side of the gravel road is a canal full of water, and on the other side is just an embankment. It goes down probably 8 feet or so, something like that, just a pretty steep drop off. Well, he's going down this road and he loses control of the vehicle and rolls it, luckily on the dry side, not into the canal. He rolls the vehicle down the embankment on the left side. None of us are wearing seat belts, and I was in the passenger seat. My brother was in the back seat. On the floorboard of this passenger seat, he had one of those old red metal toolboxes, with the lock, the old style lock, so you could put a padlock through it. Well, he had it full of wrenches and sockets and stuff. This thing had to weigh 200 pounds, and he rolled the vehicle, and this thing is at my feet. So he rolls it, and as the vehicle rolled, my windshield, the corner of my windshield on the passenger side is the place that hit hardest, and it caved in toward me, that corner of the hood, the roof, and that caved in toward me. Well, I launched up or down as the vehicle was rolling and hit my head on that. I still have a scar right here. The vehicle rolled and then landed on its tires, luckily, but when it did that, when it flopped over on its tires, while we were inverted, the toolbox landed on the bottom side of the glove box. Luckily, it didn't hit me in the face or anything. And then when we rolled over, the toolbox came back down on my foot. So that was pretty painful. My brother had no injuries except for when the vehicle landed on its tires, the door swung open and he kind of fell out the door. Just his head was hanging out the door, and it came back and hit him in the face and broke his tooth. That's the only injury my brother had. But I was hurt pretty badly. The vehicle couldn't be driven after this, so we walked to the road. We didn't have cell phones back then, no way to contact anybody. We had to walk to the road, me with a broken foot. I'm pretty sure, I'm about 100% sure that my foot was broken. And I'm about 80% sure that I had a pretty severe concussion. But anyway, we have to walk to the road, to the paved road, so we could get somebody to stop and give us a ride. We did that. Somebody stopped and we crawled in the back of their pickup. So some guy let us in the back of his pickup and he took us home. We got out of the pickup. My dad saw us getting out of the pickup, and he knew instantly that we'd been in an accident. What happened was, I remember sitting on the couch and my dad just kind of shaking his head like, I hope you learned your lesson, saying stuff like that. Like, what did I do? I just rode to the store with this guy. I didn't wreck it. I wasn't driving. I wasn't, instigating him or urging him on or anything. I was just riding in the passenger seat. But anyway, I didn't say any of that to my dad because he didn't want to hear that shit. He just wanted me to know that there was a lesson to be learned there. I still don't know what lesson was there, but anyway, so my head's bleeding. My foot is what hurt though. That that my foot was in so much pain. So I just stayed home from school. No doctor, no hospital, nothing. My scalp, I had a big scab on my head for a few weeks. I hobbled around. It was hard to walk for a few weeks. Eventually, they both healed up and got better. My foot, I don't really notice any problem with my foot at all. My head, I still have a lump on my head, and I can feel that scar even through my hair. I can feel that scar in my head. Uh, so I had a pretty deep laceration on my scalp. But I just stayed home from school for I forget how long it was, but it was a pretty long time, like a month. And at this time I hated school anyway. I just couldn't stand school. We lived out in the country. I would rather be out running around with my dog and, run around in the woods by myself with my dog. I didn't want to go to school anyway, so I never once tried to get my dad to let me go to school. Eventually he forced me to. He told me, it's time for you to go back to school. So this is like probably April, I'm going to say. April. So this probably happened early March. Late February is when the accident happened, right at the tail end of winter. And then finally in April sometime, my dad made me go back to school. And I remember this clearly because I was in the 8th grade. And I went to school that day, got on the bus, rode to school. I hadn't been there in a month. Just no contact with any of my friends. It was before the digital age. I don't even remember. I I don't even think we had a phone because we were just too poor. I don't even think we had a telephone. I don't remember. We might have had just the very most basic phone service, maybe. I don't remember though. But I didn't talk to my friends on the phone, so I doubt that. I think we just didn't have a phone. But anyway, I show up to school, go to my first class, and it's empty. I'm looking around and nobody's there. None of my friends are there. None of the teachers are there. No one's there. So I wander around for a few minutes trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So I go to the office and I ask them, hey, what's going on? Nobody's here. So they inform me that today is the day of the 8th grade trip. The 8th grade is gone off on a field trip. So I'm the only 8th grader at school, period. So they just made me sit in the office there somewhere in the detention room or something, look at a textbook or something all day. It was boring as hell. I remember it. Anyway, finally the last bell rings and I go get on the bus and go home, and I told my dad what happened, and I just begged and pleaded for him to let me stay home. Because for some reason there had been a rumor in school that year that everybody was going to pass. Nobody was going to fail. Everybody in middle school was going to go on, or in 8th grade at least, was going to go on to the 9th grade next year. And that rumor had been circulating all year. So I used that argument to convince my dad to just let me stay home for the rest of the year. I didn't want to go to school. Somehow I did it. I convinced him, and I didn't go to the 8th grade anymore. I stayed home all the way through April, May, and then summer vacation started, and I went back to school, and I was in the 9th grade. Still, craziest thing in the world. Yeah, they passed me. So that rumor had been true. I never researched it and asked. I didn't go to the principal and say, hey, I should probably still be in the 8th grade because I missed half of it. I just went to the 9th grade and, and did my thing. I had some, I was in like algebra class in the 8th grade, and I was still in the same algebra class in the 9th grade with the dumb kids. I didn't get to go to algebra 2 with the smart kids, that kind of stuff. But other than that, it worked out pretty good. But that's the kind of stuff that my father would do, as far as like the doctor, and my life wasn't in danger, so he just saw no reason to go to the doctor. I mean, it was just completely reasonable to him for me to suck it up and deal with it, deal with the pain, heal up like a man, and soldier on. And I did. And that's not because I was tough. It's just because I didn't have any other choice. He wasn't going to do anything. You know what I mean? It's not because I wanted to be tough. If he would have taken me to the doctor, I would have gladly gone to the doctor and got something to help me with the pain, but got some stitches in my head or whatever. But he wasn't going to do it, so I didn't have a choice. That's what a lot of people don't understand about Gen X being tough. It's not like we wanted to be tough. We were trying to be tough as kids. No, our parents made us tough. Our parents forced us to be tough by their decisions. And a lot of you with silent generation fathers know this. I'm preaching to the choir. Y'all already know. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. So, and even boomer fathers were similar, maybe not as hardcore, but still similar things, similar mindset. And that's it for that story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there below this video. Or you can hop over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I'll put that link down in the description. We also have some cool Gen X gear, and I'm wearing a shirt from Redbubble here today. The post-apocalyptic generation. If you're interested in stuff like that, coffee mugs, stickers, that kind of stuff, you can hop over to Redbubble and check that stuff out. I'll put that link down in the description as well. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That really helps out a lot, and thank you very much. If you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can email us, and the email address is over on the channel page. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.